Let's take a tour of the Dutch garden. It's been a few weeks. Got lots of stuff in bloom. My Asiatic lilies have just finished, so I have lost that color, but I have garden phlox that is starting to come into bloom now, and it's looking quite stunning. The thing that I want to mention about this garden, it is planted in full sun, and this is full clay soil under this. So if you're wondering what you can grow in your garden if you have full clay, this is a great example. What I did when I planted these things is I dug the hole, I removed the clay that was in that hole, and I backfilled with 100% compost manure. And that seems to help them thrive, and they do just fine. The other flowers that are just starting to come into bloom, the Asiatic finished and the Orientals are just starting. And I have a few Orientals dotting the garden in here. They're highly colorful and highly fragrant. Color is gorgeous. So as we come into the garden, we still have the red leaves of the Penstemon, which give us a little splash of color, which is always kind of nice. As we look over the garden, the russet sage is really the show right now, all the purple you see. Here's one of my tall garden phlox. It's just started blooming. It's a very light pink color. I've had some of these so long I have no idea what the actual variety is anymore. I just know it's tall garden phlox. Oh, it looks really good. A quick pan of this little section of the garden. This one had Delphiniums, and I got Delphiniums. The second round of Delphiniums are actually coming, which is really kind of nice, actually. Then we get into this little section of the garden, and I've got some white tall garden phlox. I have this Loosestrife in here, or gooseneck, which I need to get out yet, and some pink, a little bit darker pink variety of garden phlox in there. That looks pretty nice together. I'll take a quick pan from this view so you can see what it looks like. It's really gorgeous. Continuing along, we are going to have 90 degrees today. We've had really high heat for us. I'm up by Minneapolis, and we have a storm prediction we have a severe weather prediction for tonight. So I wanted to get out here and make sure I shot some video before anything happens to flatten the garden out worse than it already is. Looking into the Russian sage again. This is a taller variety. Here is some more tall garden phlox, which is a bright pink variety, and it's tucked in amongst all these orange flowers, which is this little section I plant for my husband. I'll get a view from the other side as well. Lots of color, yellows and oranges and reds. See if I can get the camera at a good angle to give you a really good view the way I see it when I walk in the garden. It's really amazing. So this orange flower is called a butterfly weed, and I just spotted a monarch caterpillar resting on there. See if that focuses. I just spotted a monarch caterpillar, which is kind of a fun find. I've got a lot of milkweed. Some of it I planted, some of it I let reseed. I've just seen another one down tucked under here. Let's tuck in and see if we can get a better view. See him down in there? Which is kind of fun. We are at the final push here, going to enter August, so there's going to be a lot of monarchs trying to get their eggs laid for the final group. Oh, here's yet another one. Another one I missed. So yeah, butterfly weed makes sense. There's just tons of monarch caterpillars in here. Cool, cool. The color is just so stunning. Wonder how many more I've got in here. I'm kind of looking as I'm going here to see how many there are, but that's pretty cool. So this Daylily, I don't know what variety it is, but it has a little bit bigger flower on it. So that one looks kind of nice with that red-yellow contrast. And in the back or the front of the border, depending on where you're standing, we have these Missouri or Ozark. I think these are the Ozark Sun Drops. I have to look it up and make sure that's right. But that's nice yellow, like a lemony yellow color. As I looked on my path, I got a couple of weeds to pull, but this area along the path is where I usually put, or where my spring bulbs come up. I'll see if I can cut in a view of that here to show you just how spectacular this looks with the spring bulbs. This little open section is here because there's usually a huge bed of tulips and they have went dormant for the rest of the year. And I've got a few weeds in here, but the other thing that I have is I have actual plants growing. Like this one here is a baby phlox that reseeded itself. And I've got tons of that milkweed that reseeded too that I saw when I did a walkthrough earlier. I think this is that little milkweed plant or butterfly weed, just a baby. So what I'll do is I will come out here and I will weed out what I don't want, and I'll maybe dig up the little ones I want to keep and I'll put them in a nursery bed till later. There's a few of them here and there. Moving into this section of the garden, which is really nice with the bird bath, although I do need to clean the bird bath. I'll do that tomorrow when it cools down. I have the garden phlox, the tall garden phlox here, which I have had terrible issues with deer. I've sprayed it multiple times and it's still coming. You can see this little section here did just fine, but that one is still stunted. Looks like they were still nipping at it. So what I'll probably do is get another bunch of deer away and spray on it. In some places it's working really well for me and others not so much. So taking a pan of this little section, we have the Liatris, which is a spiky purple things in the background, also known as gay feather, which is kind of at mid-season to ends of season bloom. It gets to be looking kind of brown and yucky. You might have to cut it back. I have the beautiful cone flowers, which are from the sombrero collection, bright red and bright orange, and they're really nice. I really like them a lot. I have some creeping phlox, which is past its season. And then coming up, I have these huge Perennial Hibiscus, which get they get very large 7-8 inch flowers on them. I think they're red. They're pink or red. I don't know which. And these things have grown really well for me. And then stuck in back there, you can see that Oriental Lily popping through, which is fun. I'm gonna do a pan view of the garden right now. And I like to do this because it will help me show over time the changes that this garden has seen. And again, I'll see if I can find the footage to be able to put the other pan views in here, so you can just see all the changes we've had over the year, which has just been spectacular. So on this side you can see I have more tall garden phlox in there, and I got another Oriental Lily that's going to come. I've got this Liatris here, which I didn't plant. It planted itself. I'm going to dig it out. I'm going to have to do a lot of garden maintenance in here. This is getting pretty thick. This is 3 years in the ground. And then this section of the garden is I planted for my daughter who loved the balloon flowers. So I've got more Russian sage in here and the balloon flowers, which are just beautiful. My daughter used to come through when she was little, when I lived on the farm, and she would pop all the balloons of the balloon flowers, which was kind of nice. There's some more tall garden phlox. And this is sweet woodruff, which I need to get out of here too. It's really took over, which I don't want it to do. Continuing down, I have the last of the lilies and the irises that bloomed earlier in the year. Some more Liatris that planted itself, which I'll probably dig out of here. And then this is a different sombrero coneflower, and this one fell over a little bit, so I'm probably going to try to come in when I do some other garden maintenance and tie these things up so we can still enjoy the blooms. I don't remember them falling over before, but might have to put a cage on it next year. But this one is just really cool with the pom-poms and the way that it looks. It's a beautiful, beautiful color red, and it just looks really nice. Coming to the next section, you can see where I've got more purple coneflower, and I have more of this Loosestrife, also known as gooseneck, and some balloon flower tucked in there, and the color combination's awful nice. Looks really good. Here's another pan view of this section. The other thing that I have stuck in here, the other plant that I brought in was some red bee balm, and that's still going really well. I probably can thin this out a little bit. This is just 3 little pieces, and that's how much it filled in. If you don't have room for it to go, you may not want to put it in if you have a smaller garden, it probably wouldn't be good for that. But a bigger garden like this, it does really well. Continuing down the path, I've got what's left of my first blush of Delphiniums. I've got another Oriental Lily that's going to be coming into color here anytime. And then I actually have one Delphinium that actually is already reblooming, which is amazing since I just deadheaded. That's a really pretty one. This is from the Fantasia collection. It's gorgeous. Got a few of those along the way, and they'll become real big columns. Here's another one I need to deadhead. And on the outside of the garden, I have this one tall garden phlox. This one is a salmony color. It's the only one I have of this color. They come in so many different shades. I really like this one. I probably should break it up and spread it out a little bit to give more of this color around the garden. But the color is really amazing. The sun is not out at the moment. It looks like it's trying to peek out, which will give us a brighter color. I have other photos I'll probably cut in here. Here are some other white flowers. This is an obedient plant that's white. Again, the Loosestrife and some more white phlox. And the white really provides a nice pop of color, or color contrast in the garden. If this tour is helpful, please give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great videos. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.